Hello everyone. What I'd like to look at in today's video is I'd like to look at language and language features and techniques, as well as how these are tested and assessed in the Level 1 paper and Level 2 paper. So very quickly I'm just going to sort of show you this. Now this is a set of flashcards I've put together and will be attached with this video. And I would say that if you've got all of these under your belt, and most of them, you're going to be fine for the exam. Okay? This is more geared towards Level 2, where you're expected to find specific language features and name them. But at Level 1, it's a very good idea to understand these as well and think about how they work. So we've got emotive language here, which is where words are designed to make you feel a certain emotion. Use of expert advice or quotes, which sort of reinforces the point that's being made. So flattery, so making the audience feel good about themselves. Hyperbole, or over-exaggerating for effect. And that's usually that's usually sort of tied in with a sort of sense of humour as well. Usually hyperbole is funny, or it tends to be. Imperative command, so when an instruction is written, basically a statement is written as if it's telling you to do something or telling someone to do something. Use of opinion presented as a fact. Personal pronouns, so I, we, or you, that sort of includes the reader. Rhetorical questions, which are questions you're not supposed to answer but you're supposed to think about. Use of statistics or facts or figures to support an argument, and of course rule of 3. I reckon if you've got those under your belt, you should be fine. So let's have a very quick look here at how they might test your understanding of how language is used in in Level 1. So an example question here could be something like this. So give 3 words or phrases in document 1 that suggest an ice cream bite looks attractive. Or they might present you with a multiple choice style one, like this one, where it's saying something like, how has the author of this document used language to appeal to the reader? So, to approach the first example here, where you're finding words or phrases, firstly, make sure you're looking in the correct bit. So in this case, document 1. They may narrow that down further. So they might ask you for words or phrases, say, in the second paragraph of document 1. Do pay attention to the question. Because if you quote from outside the bit you're supposed to use, you will not get a mark. So you actually start off in a very similar way as you would with Level 2 really. What you do is you start by reading, and you're not necessarily looking for a particular label here really. You're just looking for words and phrases. So remember, a phrase is a short section of words, like 2, 3, maybe 4 words. Okay? And we need words or phrases here, and again specifically, that suggest the ice cream bite looks nice, looks attractive. So what is an ice cream bite? It looks to me like along here, this is the bit that we're looking for really. So for instance, eye-catching graphics. So eye-catching design. Well, that's a phrase to me which suggests that this thing looks pretty. We need 3, don't we? So we just need a couple more here really. Beautiful umbrella. Again, that's quite a nice one really. That tells us that it looks beautiful. The bike will turn heads. Again, that again suggests here that it is an attractive bike, that it looks nice, and that would be what we put for our answer. Now, for the second one, where you're given a range of things here. So we've got a few different things here, and this is from a different exam, where you've basically got 4 options and you need to pick which one is being used to appeal to the reader. What you want to do here for this is you want to sort of almost work by process of elimination. And again, we're thinking about appealing to the reader here, and we'd look through. Now, he's not really talking to us, really, is he? And again, I mean, he's not even giving us instructions either, so we can sort of rule out those first 2, because while he's sort of talking us through his process, he isn't listing instructions. And we also, I mean, we can see one question here at the end, what did I do wrong? But he doesn't really answer those questions either, so looking through, it's going to be this one. He's writing quite a chatty style, and we can look here. You know, he's using a lot of colloquialisms, a lot of slang, like lesson learned here. Ugly black paper. I didn't want my kitchen to look like a bee decorated there. Sickly yellow. He's quite chatty, he's quite approachable really, and that is how he's written to appeal to us. So, now looking at level 2. Level 2 gets a bit trickier. And level 2 might, for instance, ask us to identify language techniques used in document 1 to convince the reader that the information and advice is trustworthy. Now, it's important to remember here that you have got a focus. Okay? So, what we are specifically looking at here is language techniques that are used to convince us the information and advice is trustworthy. Okay? And again, what we're looking for here is we're going to start in the same way. We're going to start by just looking and thinking about what the author has done here. So, how is the author convincing us? And we need to look at where. So, for instance, we know for a fact, don't we, that when we write, we use Peel, we have a point, then we have evidence to back that up. So we could quite clearly say here that use of actual statistics kind of supports that, doesn't it? It convinces us that this is trustworthy. So research has shown use of statistics and facts to back that up. And leading on as well, who are they quoting here? They're quoting a professor, someone who knows what they're doing. This is the person that actually conducted the research, and they're directly quoting them. So straight off the bat, we have got two things here really. We've got facts and statistics, and we've got use of expert opinion. One very quick thing I want to draw attention to, and this is simply to save you guys time. Professor Lucy Daniels says, right, the Leeds team carried out. You don't have time to write all that out, right? So when you're providing your quote, when you put down here, expert opinion, you don't need to quote the entire lot. You don't need to quote her entire thing. You're just quoting what backs up what you're saying. Okay? And if you did want to quote that entire text there, all you'd put is the Leeds team, ellipses, 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 motivation. So you'd write something like this. And that shows the examiner that you're referring to that entire bunch of text from the Leeds team right up to motivation. So that is one of the ways they might ask you at level 2 to think about and analyse language use. And we're going to look at a slightly trickier one now. Okay? So this is taken from the plastics one. And we can see here, they've given us the language feature they want us to discuss. Straight off the bat, they've said, give 2 examples of where the writer has used emotive language. So we're looking for emotive language, and this is from document 2. I hope you can read this okay. So, for instance, I am just going to pick out here a couple of things. And again, what I'm doing is I'm looking specifically for right in here where they're using these words and phrases to get across an emotion to me, the reader. And don't forget, that isn't necessarily you sat in the exam room. It's what they intended to have. It's the effect they intend to have. Okay? I'm going to go with end up being choked, poisoned and entangled there. I quite like that. You know, that's emotive. It's conjuring up quite a horrible emotion, really, isn't it? Now, this bit is where it's quite tricky. And this is where it does get a little bit tricky, guys. Because we need to give a different effect each one of these has on the reader. If I put down, it makes me feel something, or even, that is not good enough. I need to be specific. And this is the difference with this question, where you're talking about the effect on the reader of a specific language feature. You need to think about the context. Now, the context here, they are talking about marine life, animals and birds which end up killed by plastic. Within the context of this, seeing as overall it's trying to get us to cut down on our plastic use, I could say this makes the reader feel ashamed. That's valid. It could make us feel ashamed at the amount of plastic we chuck away without thinking about it. And again, here, as long as your interpretation is backed up, someone could put something different. This shocks the reader, for instance, and that's fine as well, as long as your interpretation is backed up. And the other thing to remember here is you can't give the same explanation. You know, you need to give a different effect. So in this case, for instance, only going to get worse. I could pick out here as another emotive language. I'd have to put something along the lines of encourages the reader to take action. So there we go. Language analysis on both levels 1 and level